Hello, everybody. Welcome to Opportunity Unveiled, everything that you wanted to know about state opportunity zones. This is a pre-recorded webinar where we will be going over state opportunity zones, their form, their function, and where they are in DeKalb County and how businesses can take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. My name is Sunny Anderson. I'm the Senior Business Attraction Manager for Decide DeKalb Development Authority.
Hi, my name is Tricia DePadro. I work for the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. I'm the Tax Credit Program Manager, and I work with the State Opportunity Zone program.
Awesome. So Tricia, can you tell us a little bit about state opportunity zones?
Opportunity zones were with the passage of House Bill 439 in the 2009 legislative session. It was signed by Governor Sonny Perdue on May 4th, 2009, with the same effective date. So it's been 15 years in place. The purpose of the State Opportunity Zone Job Tax Credit is to offer an incentive to businesses to locate or expand within areas of communities that are suffering from disinvestment and need of redevelopment and revitalization. Okay. And the incentive for businesses locating within state opportunity zones are $3,500 per net new job created within that state designated opportunity zone. The threshold for a community or an area in a community to be designated a state opportunity zone is the poverty would have to be 15% or greater in a census block group. So whatever blocks are trying to be used or marked, notated, designated as state opportunity zones has to be 15% or greater poverty. There has to be underdevelopment, which includes a high vacancy rate, and a lower number of business licenses and building permits are granted. General distress, which would include high unemployment rates and a high crime rate. Higher number of code enforcement citations, and a high number of dilapidated structures. And most definitely blight. The job tax credit website is listed, and I've shown it on the screen here where you can click on what's circled in red, an interactive map. DeKalb County has 3 state opportunity zones, and they all expire on December 31st, 2032. This is the first one, the DeKalb Candler Road State Opportunity Zone. The next one is DeKalb Memorial inside the perimeter State Opportunity Zone. And finally, the DeKalb Memorial outside the perimeter State Opportunity Zone. There's a lot of geography going on there. That's why the maps look so tiny. I wanted to capture the entire state opportunity zone on each of the maps of the zones. Benefits of locating within a state opportunity zone. So any lawful business may qualify within the zone, not just a qualifying business enterprise. So this would include retail, any type business that decides to locate within that opportunity zone. The threshold job creation of 2 net new jobs allows the state's maximum tax credit of $3,500 per net new job. This credit may offset 100% of the income tax liability of the business, with the excess available to claim against Georgia payroll withholding at a later time after the Georgia Department of Revenue approves the claim to use the credits against the Georgia payroll withholding. So DeKalb County in 2024 is a Tier 3 county under the Job Tax Credit Program. This equates to a job threshold of 15 jobs must be created in order to take a credit of $1,250 per net new job. And the credit can only be used against 50% of the income tax liability. And it must also, under a Tier 3, be a business enterprise, a valid business enterprise as listed in the job tax credit regulations. However, as noted in the second column, the state opportunity zone job tax credit benefits, you've only got to create 2 net new jobs for a $3,500 credit, and you can use it against 100% of your income tax liability. And once that's been relieved, you can use the remainder against Georgia withholdings. And again, any lawful business may qualify. This just lists, I'm not going to go through this entire slide, but this just tells you under each designation of the job tax credit program, what type of business must be had under each of the designations, and the job creation requirements, the amount of their credits, and if they earn a joint development authority bonus, and how they may use their credits. So the job eligibility requirements, so we're looking at creating 2 net new jobs. They must be full-time jobs working 35 hours per week average. So, you know, if they work a little less one week, a little more one week, when you average it out, if it averages to the 35 hours per week or more, then they would qualify. In addition, the job must meet the wage requirement, which for 2023 is $636 per week or $33,072 per year. And that's what's reported on their W-2. The Georgia Department of Labor puts out a document in June-ish of every year that states the wages per county, and we take for the job tax credit program the lowest, the county with the lowest income per week wage, and that's what becomes the wage requirement. Each year it goes up typically. And so for 2024, we don't have that wage until next month, probably the end of next month. But right now the tax returns are being filed for 2023, so you don't really need it until after, well after it comes out. In addition, the jobs must be offered health insurance coverage. Now, the company does not have to pay for the health insurance, but it does have to offer it upon employment. So if someone says they decline the insurance because they're on their spouse's insurance, that's fine. You just need to make sure you get some documentation that says we offered this, they declined it. Also, the type of insurance plans that are not allowed under to be called offered health insurance coverage is the marketplace, Obamacare, or even if a stipend is granted to an employee to pay for their own health insurance, that's not what is qualified as being offered health insurance coverage. In addition, the jobs must be net new jobs to Georgia. They may not be relocated from another location in Georgia or another business that they also have, that the employer has, if they have multiple locations. And the employees must have Georgia income taxes withheld. This credit is a 5-year credit, so it'd be $3,500 for 5 years if the jobs are maintained for the full 5 years. So that amounts to a lot if you're maintaining your jobs. Applications for designation, this speaks more to the communities. They're accepted year-round. They're approved by both the Commissioner of DCA and the Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development. State opportunity zones last for 10 years. New applications are required for redesignation. So if a community in the 10 years hasn't fixed all their blight or their anything in that section of state opportunity zone, they may reapply for redesignation. And as I said, it's typically a smaller area of designation, less parcels are granted designation, but I've seen a lot of communities come back and they are granted an additional, a new state opportunity zone. And the application, as we said before, should demonstrate poverty, underdevelopment, general distress, and blight. And there's my contact information. And if you're doing the application for the state opportunity zone, Cherie is your contact for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. So now I'll talk a little bit about examples of opportunity zones that you might see in Atlanta. We have the famous Ponce City Market. Before the Beltline came along, Ponce City Market was designated as an opportunity zone to really give it that push to put in some of the office leases and some of the retail leases that helped make it the thriving success that it is today. There are also examples in the Midtown Opportunity Zone. Now, of course, our commercial corridors don't have the high-rise buildings like the Bank of America building, but all of the companies that were going into ATDC at Georgia Tech and a lot of the startup companies that were going into the old Bank of America building were able to take advantage of this wonderful job tax credit. Then we also have the Summerhill area. There's the Summerhill Opportunity Zone where businesses, small businesses especially, are really able to take advantage of this tax credit as well. And I think, Tricia, you'd agree that it is a huge benefit to companies that when they're able to offset their corporate income tax, to even apply it to their payroll withholding, because that is something that is, a great benefit. It's like cash in pocket to a company.
In addition, I forgot to mention that if the business doesn't use up the full amount of the credit in the year that they've filed it with their tax filing, it's a carry forward for 10 years. Now that's getting ready to change once the governor signs into law. It's going to change to 5 years, but that's going to start in 2025. So prior to 2025, January 1st, 2025, they can carry it forward for 10 full years.
That's good to know. And something else that I think that we want to call out, business enterprise, the state of Georgia designates certain types of industries as important industries to them. And so the job tax credit outside of the state opportunity zone focuses on logistics, manufacturing, and those types of jobs. And the state opportunity zone tax credit is really important for those retail businesses and for some of those smaller businesses that don't fall under the state's requirements for its larger job tax program. DeKalb was able to work with our partners over at the DeKalb County Planning and Sustainability Office to work on an urban redevelopment plan. The urban redevelopment plan was the basis for us to apply for our opportunity zones. We applied for Candler Road, Memorial Drive, which is so long. It is a very long stretch of road there that it had to be split into 2 opportunity zones. And we were granted all 3. We're very excited because those are the first 3 opportunity zones in unincorporated DeKalb. You have another one that's up in the assembly site, and that is, of course, in the city of Doraville. It is important, I think, to know that communities can apply for their own jurisdiction, but cities would be required to apply for their own opportunity zone. And then the county, of course, where you can apply for opportunity zones in unincorporated DeKalb. We're very thankful that our partners at the Department of Community Affairs, Tricia and Cherie, were able to see the benefit of putting the opportunity zones in these important commercial corridors in DeKalb. We see a lot of growth happening on Candler Road, and we want to make sure that small businesses are able to get tax support. I also want to emphasize that this is different from the federal opportunity zone. That is an investment vehicle for capital gains tax to be invested into different communities. This is a Georgia program that is to help companies offset their Georgia income tax liability. We get a lot of questions about people that get the 2 confused because the federal government named theirs after ours, the opportunity zone, but this Georgia State Opportunity Zone was here first.
Also, a business, in order to claim the state opportunity zone, must fill out a state opportunity zone certification form. It is available on the state opportunity zone website. And so the business would fill out the state opportunity zone, the part 1 on the form, and then they would send it via email. That's fine. It doesn't have to be an original form, to Sunny, and she is the local contact. And for all the DeKalb opportunity zones we mentioned, and she would fill out part 2, sign off on it, and then she would email it to me, and I would accept it and send a letter back to the business and the accepted certification form. And then the business needs to attach the letter received with the certification form, and fill out the ITCA form from the Department of Revenue, from the Georgia Department of Revenue's website, or in their tax forms, whoever's preparing their tax filings. And those three things, the letter, the certification form, and the ITCA form, which actually calculates the credit allowed the business and make sure it comes down to two jobs at least added under the state opportunity zone. And then they file and receive their credit. Now, if a business is using the credit against their Georgia withholdings, once they've exhausted the credit against their Georgia income tax for the business, then they need to also fill out an ITWH form in the Georgia Business Tax Center. And that just allows the Department of Revenue to know that, hey, listen, we've got this credit. We want to use some of it against our withholdings. And then the Department of Revenue has 180 days to respond back after the return's been filed to the taxpayer and say, okay, here, this is when you can start taking the credit. This is how much credit we've approved you for. Typically, it's what you filed for. And then they get to take the credit against withholdings. There's the form. So business would fill out part 1. Sunny would fill out part 2. And then the part 3, I would acknowledge it and send it back to the taxpayer in addition to a copy to Sunny to let her know also that's been processed and we're good to go on it.
We know that this is a lot of information all at once, especially since these programs are new to DeKalb County. We would encourage businesses to attend our Business Resources 101, which we hold annually, or our South DeKalb Business Pop-Up Incubator. Both of those programs, businesses will be able to go and communicate with tax professionals who can help them with these kinds of things. So people who, focus on income taxes specifically for businesses. Or they can reach out to myself or Tricia, of course, who is your local DCA representative, to be able to make sure that they understand how to go ahead and take advantage of these tax credits. Thank you so much for attending this pre-recorded webinar. We're very excited for this new incentive tool in DeKalb County, and we hope that this really encourages businesses to hire those good paying jobs, those full-time jobs with health insurance. Even our retailers, our restaurants, our hotels can take advantage of this wonderful credit. Thank you to Tricia for joining me.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.